This is the Freedom Club Podcast, and I am your host, Curt Mercadante. I am so psyched, so pumped that you are here today. You know what? When I started this podcast, and even to this day, I don't care if I have one person listening or 1,000 people listening. That's actually a lie. I do love it, seeing this grow. But my point is, if I can just help one person, just one person, through an episode of this podcast, I have done my job. And what does that mean to help someone? It means to help awaken them from the notion that they have to live a lifestyle by default. Maybe that applies to you. I want to open your eyes to the very fact that you can design your lifestyle. You can live a lifestyle you actually want, a lifestyle you actually desire, instead of one by default, instead of one that you think has to be a certain way because society says it that way, because your parents told you that, or a teacher or a boss. A lifestyle that is just quote unquote responsible or realistic. I want you to realize that you can live a lifestyle you design, a lifestyle of freedom and fulfillment, a lifestyle you want. Instead of waking up day after day feeling like you're destined for more and you don't know what that more is, I want you to find that more. I want you to define it. I want you to unleash your superpowers, define your vision, live a life of alignment, not balance, but alignment, and set key outcomes to make that happen each and every day so you live in a state of flow. So thank you so much for being here. And in today's episode, I answer a question submitted by a member of the Freedom Club community, which is my private Facebook group. Please go join it. If you're on Facebook, go search it out, join it today. And the question related to motivation. You know, this particular person had defined some goals, maybe not a vision, maybe not an outcome, but designed some goals and felt he wasn't motivated. He had trouble finding the motivation to reach it. So today I talk about motivation. I kind of rip on the word motivation, tell you what I think you can put in its place. So I hope you find great value in today's episode. Thanks so much to Aaron, member of the Freedom Club community, for asking this question. And by the way, if you want me to answer questions on this podcast, become a member of the Freedom Club community today. You can not only ask the questions, you can watch live and live streams as I answer them. So the question of motivation. How do you get it? How do you find it? What's it all about? That's in today's episode of the Freedom Club Podcast.
Welcome to the Freedom Club Podcast, where we strive to pull you out of your life of quiet desperation, out of your comfort zone of misery, and propel you into a life of freedom and fulfillment. And now, here's your host for this journey, international speaker and coach, and serial entrepreneur, Curt Mercadante.
So the next question, Aaron asks, could you talk about motivation? I feel like I'm struggling with a lack of motivation, even for the things and outcomes I want. I think it's because what I want to accomplish feels overwhelming. Thanks so much, Aaron, for your question. So Jessica Cox, who I recently had on this podcast, in this live stream, was born without arms. But she was born without arms, so that's her frame of reference. So it came naturally to her. She even called it her advantage. But she had other fears. She had a fear of flying. So you know what? She became the first armless pilot in history. She had a fear of public speaking. She's now a motivational speaker. She's been speaking for 13 years. And I asked her on the podcast, how do you deal with fear? She said, well, I break it up into small little steps, one step at a time. And that's what you focus on. Because to Aaron's point, listen, a lot of people are great at setting big, audacious goals. Some people, December 31st, here's my New Year's resolution. And it gets to December and you're like, oh my God, it's so overwhelming. Or it gets to July, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming, right? Listen, I'm going to go back to the 5 pillars of the freedom lifestyle because it's proven I know it works. It's worked for me and it works for my clients. And the clients who are going through it right now are absolutely fundamentally changing their lives. But that vision is that big, audacious objective, right? It combines your purpose for living with the impact you want to make on the world. There are some people who have trouble setting that. But once you set it, I have clients who say, I feel embarrassed to tell you my vision because it seems so overwhelming, so pie in the sky. And I say, tell me it. 9 times out of 10, I say, that doesn't seem too pie in the sky. Doesn't seem like a fantasy at all. But it will be if you don't put into practice one of the key pillars of the freedom lifestyle, which is outcomes. And it goes back to what Jessica Cox said. Break it into small pieces. One step in front of the other. So when you have that big goal, reverse engineer it. You hear me use the term reverse engineering all the time because it is absolutely key. Today, as I'm sitting here recording this, it is April 11th, 2019. Let's say you set a goal. I want to be in a new job. I want to live in a new city by April 11th, 2020. Right? Well, there's a lot of things that could go into that. Quitting your job, finding a new job, all that. If you're moving, well, we got to pack up. We got to find a realtor. We got to find a house in the new, whatever it is. There's a lot of stuff. I've moved numerous times. It is overwhelming. But let's say you set that for April 11th, 2020. Here's the good news. There are 365 days to, at a minimum, hammer out 365 outcomes. What's the one outcome you need to do tomorrow? What's the one outcome you need to do the day after tomorrow? But the way most of us do it is we sit there thinking about that overwhelming goal that we want to achieve and we tense up and we sit there and we spin 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 and we spin. And then we say we have a motivation problem. It's not a motivation problem. It's a problem of, well, there's a variety of things, right? Maybe you don't have a clear vision for where you want to go, but you certainly haven't taken that goal, which seems overwhelming, and broken it down into very small pieces so that every single day, you know that one outcome you need to achieve that will get you toward that goal. We're speaking about motivation. I don't believe in motivation, willpower. I don't believe in any of that shit. And here's the deal. When you're truly working within your superpower zone and you've identified a vision that you absolutely love, and no matter who the hell gets in your way, you are going to achieve it because it is your love, it is your passion, it is your purpose, it is the impact you want to make on the world, then you don't need extra motivation to get there. It carries you along. When you're working with your superpowers and in your strengths, it means that things actually get so easy that it's harder not to do it than to do it. I have responsibility as one of my top 5 strengths. I've had trouble getting to the gym my entire life. So you know what I do? I sign up for group coaching. I go boxing. And if I tell my coach I'm going to be there on Wednesday and I don't show up on Wednesday, you know what? I feel guilty. He lets me know about it. It tweaks my responsibility strength. So it becomes harder for me not to go than to go. So it's about greasing the skids. That's what the freedom lifestyle is about. It's not just about sitting here, dreaming it up and saying it's going to happen. Screw that. It ain't going to happen. Trust me, I know I have made the break. I'm helping people every single day to make the break. You got to break that up into key pieces. You got to figure out which of your superpowers you're going to use to get there. You got to break it down. So every day, every week, every month, every year, you have those outcomes to achieve that big goal. Now, what I'm going to end on is this. If you're sitting there and you've been sitting there for weeks, for months, for years, and it still seems overwhelming, and you refuse to go get help. Now, selfishly, I'm a coach. I know I can help you get there. Aaron asked this question. I know I can help you get there. I know several other coaches who will help you get there. You just got to ask for help. You got to take the first step. Don't feel guilty asking for help. Don't feel scared asking for help. Don't feel embarrassed asking for help, because you know what's worse than asking for help? Sitting in your comfort zone of misery in a state of depression, thinking you're not motivated, thinking there is a problem with you, when all you had to do was get someone to give you an outside purview to help you get where you want to go with a proven system to help you get there. So Aaron, I hope that answers your question about motivation.